Welcome to our Common Sense channel. Today's topic is the secret to lift Africa and Black people to greatness again. Now, Devin Morgan is a writer and researcher. Two of his books are Demystifying Cancer, Exposing the Deception of the No Cure for Cancer, and the World Common Sense Challenges. They are available on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, or directly using the email in the description. Greetings, Brother Devon.
Greetings, Brother.
Tell our audience why we are covering these subjects under common sense.
Another phrase for common sense is common knowledge. All the subjects we cover in this channel are important enough to become common knowledge. And because they are not trivia, they can be of great benefit to us.
Let's get right into it. What is the secret to elevate us to greatness again?
The subject is about lifting us to greatness again, the emphasis on again. This suggests that we used to be great. So all we need to do is figure out what made us great before and follow the same path.
Now, the world has changed. Will following the same path work?
Yes, the world has changed, but the principle to human progress remains the same. It's based on a simple formula. What we know determine how we feel determine what we do, and what we do determine our result. So it all started with knowledge.
But Africans and Black people are some of the most educated people in the world. Yet we do not have much power or recognition, and we are still being exploited.
Yeah, when we were great, we had knowledge of how to solve our problems. It couldn't have been any other way because, according to anthropologists, we were the first people on Earth. And we were here for about 180,000 years before any other people. During this time, we accumulated so much knowledge, we were able to bring civilization to the rest of the world. The education we receive now is designed to solve the problem of the people who designed it.
This makes sense. So we need an education system to solve our problems. Is it that simple?
No, the education we need goes far beyond academics of how to do stuff. We need an education system that gives us a firm understanding of life and people. And we have to learn how to apply this knowledge critically. It also has to include knowledge about our history and culture. We need pride of our collective history so as to have confidence to compete with the leaders of the world. For the knowledge of our history to have the desired effect, it must give us a deep emotional connection to our past greatness. It cannot be an academic exercise where we just know of the people, events, and dates. We don't want to be just an encyclopedia. We must once again have a compulsion to build great empires. And this starts with having functional families and communities.
Hmm. Have you got examples of this greatness that we need to have emotional attachment to?
For this presentation, just a few. I have already mentioned the first example. We have been on this earth for about 180,000 years before any other people. If we make an emotional connection with the significance of this fact, it should inspire us.
So, who established the information and how was it established?
This was established by Europeans through skeletal remains. They find bones basically, and the oldest bones they found were of a black person in Africa, dated about 200,000 years ago, called Homo sapiens sapien, our modern man. And the earliest bones they found of Europeans were about 20,000 years. The next example of our greatness is that we were the first people to invent tools and technology. Now, according to our eminent historian Robin Walker, the oldest known human culture developed in Congo, he says, quote, humans in Africa invented sophisticated tool technologies long before their European counterpart, who have often been credited with initiating modern culture. Brooks and Yellen he's quoting Brooks and Yellen, who made the discovery, initially dated the artifacts to 70,000 years old. Subsequently, they revised the dating of the Kantanda culture to 90,000 years. End of quote.
Mm, wow. So, based on European dating of human life, Africans were inventing technologies before they were here.
Yes, this is obviously the case. Another bit of history that should inspire us to greatness is this. In 1964, a mine was discovered in Swaziland. An iron mining company discovered it by accident. They discovered large amounts of ancient mining tools, and 300,000 artifacts were recovered. The mine was dated to about 43,200 years old. So, why do we now require others to come and our organize and own the lion's share of our mining? We did it before. We should
Mhm,
be able to do it again, or we should be doing it again and doing it now.
mhm. Well, this makes sense. What other examples of our past should inspire us to greatness?
Now, we built the Great Pyramid of Giza amongst many other pyramids, and how we did it is a mystery to the world. Here is a quote about it. Quote, overall, the Great Pyramid of Giza is a complex and impressive structure that remains a mystery to this day. While modern buildings and construction techniques have come a long way since its construction, the pyramid stands as a testament to the ingenuity and skill of ancient builders. End of quote.
But is this widely accepted?
As usual, you go on the internet, you will see people mocking our accomplishment to do with building pyramids. There's always be someone like this. However, how would they explain the unique position ancient Egypt is held in the world?
So, what do you mean?
It has the uniqueness of being the only country and civilization. We're talking about Egypt now. It has the uniqueness of being the only country and civilization that has a science developed about it. Billions have been spent excavating it over the centuries and exploring it. One can get a PhD or doctorate from studying Egyptology, which is defined as the scientific study of ancient Egypt. That's what Egyptology means, the scientific study of ancient Egypt.
Hmm. So, this is proof that is regarded as being greatly significant to Western civilizations.
Absolutely, they would be wasting all that money for no reason, or spending that much money without reason. And just in case any of our audience is unaware, the ancient Egyptians who built the pyramid and they did not look like the typical Egyptians currently. They are the result of colonization, meaning that there was mixture.
That's right.
Ancient Egyptians look like the people in Sudan, very black. Now, back to the subject of Egyptology. Have you ever heard about a science dedicated to any other country or people or culture?
Definitely no.
What about Germantology, Italiantology, or any other science based on a country?
There's no such thing. Any other examples of African greatness?
Yes, and for me, in some ways, this is more amazing than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The people of Ethiopia carved buildings out of solid rock. I cannot wrap my mind on how they were able to do it and how long it would have taken them. Like the Pyramid of Giza, the knowledge of how to do this, do of how this was done is lost. Basically, it was not passed on. Now, here is an aerial view. Now, the inner design is astonishing. How long did it take them to do this? What sort of tools did they have in 1100 AD when this was built? Now, this has to be one of the great wonders of the world. Here is here is the inner design. If you think it's amazing, click the like button. Click it now. Do us a favor. The question was once asked, why did they go to this extent to create a building? The best answer was offered was that they were just showing off. If this is true, I don't blame them. If you have this much talent, why not flaunt it? Anyway, I'm glad that they did. If we did not have physical evidence of the greatness of our ancestors, our conquerors would have been far more successful in convincing us that we had no history of significance and we were a backward people. They're still trying that now. And it would be virtually impossible to convince many of us that we civilized the world.
So, the foundation for us to return to greatness is great knowledge and culture.
Yes, it has to be based on having a strong culture, and this culture has to be strong on knowledge and pride of race. Here is a video about the purpose of culture as a reminder.
Looking at the question, what is culture? Horton and Hunt said from their life experiences, a group develops a set of rules and procedures for meeting their needs. The set of rules and procedures together with a supporting set of ideas and values is called a culture. To a great extent, you see, a culture involves a set of rules and a procedure for meeting needs. And this is the thing we have to keep in mind. You don't have a culture just to have a culture. And you don't claim a culture just because it's a culture or just because it's African. The ultimate thing that culture must do is solve problems.
For more information about culture, watch our video, Do Black People Have a Culture? The link is in the description. We used to have cultures that revered knowledge. We don't anymore. Africa probably had the only reading culture in history. I define reading culture as a culture where the majority of the population are serious readers. That does not exist currently. The number one trade in Mali, for example, Mali, who's now, I think, one of the poorer nations in Africa, was books. So we can logically assume that the majority of the people were serious readers. This is how far we've dropped today. This is a story. Here is a story of a resident who said he was ashamed that he only had 1,200 books. Amazing. The Great Library of Alexandria in Egypt was estimated to have held between 40,000 and 700,000 papyrus rolls, scrolls they call them. Now, I call reading borrowing other people's brain. Why just rely on our own brain while we can borrow as many brains as possible as we wish by just reading? We must at minimum get rid of the saying, if you want to keep a secret from a black man, put it in a book. He will never find it. That's funny, but it's not funny. There has to come a time when this is no longer true.
So, what's the secret to get future generations to read?
Let's start them reading for pleasure by reading fiction. It's good for their imagination. We must embed reading in our education system with the objective of them falling in love with it. This is a system and curriculum we must design ourselves.
So, that's all, folks. So, until next time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share, and make a comment.
Yes, I endorse that. We need to help. You need to help the channel to grow for us to continue. So, subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment or ask a question if you wish.